Are you a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident planning to get married to a foreign national currently living outside Canada or already in Canada on a study, work, or visitor visa? Welcome back, guys. In today's video, we will talk about couples given one of them is a Canadian resident, either a citizen or a PR, and thinking about getting married to a foreign national, either inside or outside Canada. This video will clearly help you understand the information you need to legally tie knots with your better half and help them immigrate to Canada. Before proceeding, we would like to thank today's sponsor, Group, who helped us in the content for today's video. We will talk more about them as we proceed. Every year, a lot of Canadian residents tie a wedding knot with their partners who turn out to be foreign nationals on their student, work, or visitor visa in Canada. A lot of you thinking about taking this step must be wondering about all the rules and requirements required to get married in Canada. Relax, the news is mostly good, but you should be aware that there are certain things that marrying a Canadian does not get you. But first, the good news. Getting married in Canada is very easy in general. Basically, the process of getting your marriage legalized in Canada is relatively easy as long as you both are physically present at the wedding ceremony. And the best part is, none of you even has to be a Canadian resident to be able to get married in Canada in the first place. Two people, both on a study or work permit or any other temporary status, are also able to get married and register their marriage in Canada just like the rest of the cases. But specifically talking about a marriage between a Canadian and a foreign national, when the sponsor actually goes ahead and takes the next step to sponsor their newlywed spouse for PR in Canada, the IRCC, which is the Department of Canada responsible for dealing with the immigration-related matters, can always indulge in the process in an attempt to look out for quick marriages that soon end in a very convenient divorce. A process which is particularly called the marriage of convenience, which is why the after processes where the sponsored person is required to prove their relationship to the sponsor can often be quite challenging and time consuming. And then there's the bad news as well, or we can say the not so fortunate part, which is also a misconception among a lot of foreign nationals who think that marrying a Canadian resident will directly make them eligible for PR or at least have them gain an easy access into the country, if of course the marriage happened outside Canada. Which is not true at all. So a simple answer to this question is no. You do not gain an exclusive right to citizenship merely by marrying. You're required to apply for citizenship just like anyone else, which starts with the sponsorship application submitted by your Canadian spouse, which is a very lengthy process in itself that I have explained in my other videos as well. And later on, after a bit of a long time, given the current processing timelines, you become a permanent resident of Canada, after which you become eligible for citizenship given that you have spent the minimum required time in Canada. In simple words, marrying a Canadian does not give you any kind of special treatment. It can certainly give you a pathway to PR, but as we said above, being sponsored by your spouse is a very detailed process where success cannot necessarily be guaranteed. Hence, there are scenarios where people use strategies to gain a quick ticket into Canada through marriage without realizing that the immigration authorities are easily able to sniff out such fraudulent relationships. Eventually, you find yourself with an unsuccessful sponsorship application with even lesser chances of getting a visitor visa. But that does not mean you shouldn't bother getting a visitor visa at all. Basically, it depends upon the situation and circumstances of the sponsored person, whether he will be approved for a visitor visa or not. To make this point clear, let's take a look at two contrasting scenarios. You're a European national who has an engineering degree and over 5 years experience in the utility sector, and you own a property in your home country. You have just married a Canadian from Alberta who works in finance in Calgary and owns a 2-bedroom home in the suburbs, and you have a couple of potential job offers in Canada as well. Aside from being fluent in English, you studied and did several exchange programs in France, and you are quite fluent in French as well. You met your wife on a trip to France and have lived with her outside Canada for over a year before getting married the next summer. And then the second scenario, where you're an unemployed European national who has worked in construction and in the hospitality business in the USA. However, you were deported from the USA for visa overstay and had to return back home due to lack of status. Later on, you married a Canadian national who retained their PR status in Canada after divorcing their Canadian spouse 6 months ago, all the while maintaining an online relationship with you, which obviously ended up in a quickie wedding in Florida just before you got deported. So who do you think has a higher chance of getting their visitor visa application approved? Or who do you think has a higher chance of getting their sponsorship application approved? Clearly the first one, right? Therefore, my point here is that the thin line between a rejection and approval lies between the details of an application, which clearly makes the whole difference. Now let's talk about the three major highly predictable scenarios and see what works the best for each scenario. The first one, married abroad and spouse want to visit Canada. If you were married overseas and not in Canada, and now you want your newlywed spouse to visit you in Canada, then there are some key factors for the foreign national that you should consider before going ahead with their visitor visa application, which is how strong are their ties to their home country? Do they have a home there? Do they have a business there? Do they have family support and connections there? Do they have a good job there? On top of that, some other factors that can be considered are, have they ever visited a first world country before, like the USA on a tourist or any other visa? And did they return back home within the limits or before the expiration of their stay? Basically, any immigration official who is reviewing a visitor visa for a foreign national newlywed will ask themselves whether their goal is to immigrate to Canada. They will ask themselves if the foreign newlywed will leave Canada after their visitor visa expires, or will they try to get extensions or a study or work permit as an excuse to stay in Canada until they can get their PR visa. Therefore, a good strategy is to apply for that PR visa right away and then wait for a first stage approval of your PR visa before applying for a visitor visa. The second scenario is met and engaged abroad but want to marry in Canada. This one will have the same key deciding factors as we just discussed. However, if the foreign spouse is from a first world country like the USA, Australia, as well as has stable ties to their home country along with a successful career, then getting a visitor visa to travel and marry in Canada is a no big deal. I know it seems unfair, but that's how it is. First world travelers will often have a better chance at obtaining a visitor visa and getting married in Canada, but that does not necessarily mean that the foreign partners from other countries will always have a hard time getting a visitor visa. Let's take an Indian graduate who has got successful in his career and has a long history of overseas travels for business purposes, especially first world countries. Such applicants also tend to have higher chances of a visitor visa approval for getting married in Canada. But the problem actually arises when the foreign national is unemployed and does not have that much of a detailed professional history. I'm pretty sure this is the case with a lot of prospective sponsors wondering if they will be able to get a visitor visa for their husband or wife who are currently unemployed or simply a homemaker. So let me tell you one thing. Being employed and financially independent is not the only way to prove your ties to your home country. There are other ways as well that you can use in your favor. For example, you can show the ownership of the property or land back home that obligates you to return. You can also show that you have members in your family back home who are financially and emotionally dependent on you. Doing this also strengthens your chances of approval. You can also show your visit to a home country where you return back within a given time frame. Basically, being employed and financially well does help you in getting an approval, but overall, it is not the only thing to show. Just make sure you're proving strong ties to your home country and take pretty much anything in it, not just the points that I discussed. Now comes the third scenario, which is both the couple are already in Canada and want to get married here. Rest assured, Canadian law allows someone even on a temporary visa, which is study, visitor, or work, to get married in Canada. It even allows both partners to be foreign nationals visiting Canada. Yes, two foreigners on a visitor visa can get married in Canada. However, each province sets some specific details for marriage as marriages are handled by their healthcare programs which are run provincially. To begin with, let's first talk about what do you really need to get married in Canada. For that, there are two things needed. One is before getting married, which is the marriage license, and the other is after getting married, which is the marriage certificate. A marriage license is something that you need to obtain before you get married in Canada, and the process differs by province for which you generally have to pay a fee. A marriage certificate, on the other hand, is an official record of your marriage that you definitely need to apply for after getting married in Canada. Now let's take you through the process step by step in Ontario and BC. All the important links will be mentioned in the video, but before that, let me give a shout out to our sponsor for today's video, Imigroup, a team of professionals who specialize in and has been dealing with spousal sponsorship since 2004. A firm that not only helps prospective applicants with their sponsorship application, but also creates useful and informative content for everyone to read, all free of cost. All possible because of their years of expertise in this field, along with their ability of being up to date with the latest info. And not only that, they also have a variety of customized options available for their clients who are thinking about sponsoring their spouse. If you want to create the whole application all by yourself, but just need an expert review before going ahead with the submission, sure, no problem. They have that option available at a very much affordable and competitive price. Or if you would like to obtain assistance throughout the whole process, they can very well help you with that as well, along with many other customizable options, specially tailored to suit your needs. Go check out the link in the description for a full list of services offered by Imigroup. Alright, now let's first quickly review the process of getting married in Ontario. for which you will either need a marriage license or a church bounce to get married. However, if someone was previously married, they cannot obtain a church bounce and must get a marriage license instead. A marriage license can be obtained at your local municipal offices, for which you will need 2 pieces of ID such as government issued birth certificate, valid passport, record of immigrant lending, Canadian citizenship card, valid driver's license, and government issued photo ID from abroad. Your marriage license is valid for 90 days, so your wedding date has to be within 3 months of the date you obtain your license. To see a list of officiants or the person who are registered and authorized to do marriage ceremonies in Ontario, you can visit the link in the description. If either partner has had a name change or a change in marital status since their unused marriage license was issued, and your unused marriage license has expired, then you can apply for a replacement license. For that, go to municipality where you originally purchased your marriage license. Bring your unused marriage license if you still have it. Bring your required ID and any of the supporting documents needed. And there is no provincial fee for a replacement marriage license, but there may be a municipal fees. For the marriage license application form, you can visit the link in the description. So once the form is submitted, download and print and then record the application number because you will need it when getting your marriage certificate. And remember, both members must sign and date the application. Once done, you need to go here, link is in the description, and book an appointment per couple. Do not book multiple appointments, and remember to print your appointment permit. At the appointment, you will need completed application form with original signatures and dates. Make sure it's not scanned. 2 valid government issued pieces of ID, divorce documentation if applicable, and only one of the couple should be at the appointment and should take all precautions like wearing a mask, etc. The cost of a marriage license is Canadian $145 and the office is located at 5100 Yonge Street in the North York Civic Center. After that, the next step will be to order your marriage certificate online. For that, you're supposed to go to this website, link is in the description. Just click on begin application, and after carefully reviewing the information, which is right here, you can scroll down and click on next and proceed with the application. The fees is paid online using any of these methods, and the fee structure will be this, and you can decide which one to go with. Now let's talk about the procedure of obtaining a marriage license and certificate in BC. For marriage license, you need to apply at BC's Vital Statistics Agency, and here is their contact information. To apply, you will need birth certificate, IMM immigration form, which is visitor, study, work visa, for example, permanent resident card, citizenship card, passport and driver's license may also be accepted in some circumstances. The fee is Canadian $100. However, if COVID restrictions cause a postponement of your wedding, then you can request a refund directly from Vital Statistics using the contact information I just provided. It's best to give them a call first. For the nearest marriage license issuer in BC, you can visit this website. Link is in the description. After that, you will need to register your marriage after completing the ceremony. For that, you will need at least 2 witnesses to attend your wedding ceremony. Along with that, you will need an officiant, either civil or religious, who will officiate your marriage, declaring you are legally married couple in accordance with the Canadian law. After the wedding ceremony, you will need these people to sign the registration, after which the officiant will submit that signed registration within 48 hours of the wedding, at which point your marriage will become legally registered with the BC government. After which, you will need to apply for a marriage certificate through any of these 4 ways. Using the Vital Statistics online services, link is in the description, using the mailing address I just provided, going to any service BC counter in person, or by calling the Vital Statistics at this number. This is how the application form will look like. Once everything is done, Vital Statistics will take around 3 weeks from the date of registration to mail your marriage certificate to the same address you provided when applying for marriage license. For the rest of the provinces, you can apply the similar steps that we have just discussed. Mostly the basic steps are going to be similar, but with some differences, especially in Quebec. Each province has their own website specially dedicated to this topic, so you can check that out. And take one important note for your information here, that a marriage license issued in a specific province will only be valid in that particular province. You cannot use a license issued in BC to get married in Ontario. You're only recommended to get your license and get married in the province you reside in. Why? Because marriage is considered a health issue and is dealt with by the health authorities in each province or territory in Canada. So that was all for this video, guys. For more updates and to keep yourself updated with such information, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. And please give this video a thumbs up for the YouTube algorithm so it can reach even more viewers. And if you're someone interested in sponsoring your spouse for PR, you can check out my other videos as well that talks about all the ways and strategies you can use to maximize your results. Till next time, see you again on Canadian Desi.